Good morning, gamers and gentlemen. Season 1 of Marvel Rivals is right around the corners, and that means one thing. Well, a lot of changes, a lot of buffs and nerfs and, new heroes and all that. But most importantly, it means new patch notes. So today we're going to go over all of the patches, all of the new changes that we are getting in Marvel Rivals Season 1, and what I think about it as a one above all player with some competitive experience, of course. So let's dive into what they have to say. And before we check out the actual changes, there's one really important thing that they're saying here, which is that regarding season bonuses and team-ups, we would like to clarify that given the brief duration of Season 0 and everyone's recent acclimatization to Marvel Rivals, we will not make extensive changes or adjust team-up abilities. That was my cheat. In Season 1. Instead, we will make minor adjustments to the existing team-up values. Fear not, for we are planning exciting redesigns and adjustments to team-up abilities in Season 2. So, I made a whole video explaining how team-ups works, like at the start of this game when it came out, and I said, yes, there's going to be new team-ups every season. Turns out I was right. They're just deciding not to do that for this very season, but starting Season 2, there's going to be new team-ups, which is really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. But let's go over the actual changes as well. Let me actually zoom in for you guys reading at home. Actually, my scroll wheel is still broken. I need a new mouse. There we go. We're starting off with Vanguard. So, Captain America, Steve will receive some enhanced survivability, allowing more frequent entering and exiting out of the combat. They reduce the delay time for shield restoration after releasing Living Legend from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. They reduce Liberty Rush cooldown from 12 seconds to 10 seconds, so he'll feel a lot faster, basically. And they will increase the base health from 650 to 675. They will also reduce the energy costs for releasing Freedom Charge, the ultimate ability, thank you for clarifying, from 3400 to 3100, and also reduce the additional health provided per second to self after releasing it from 110 to 100. So that basically by changing the energy cost, this means that he will get the ultimate a lot faster. I'd say that's about, what, 10% faster, give or take. I'm not very good with math. That's why I'm making video game videos instead of a real job. But yes, so obviously you're gonna see the ult a lot more. In general, you would say that all of his kit feels less clunky. You'll be able to use his abilities a lot more. I'm not sure whether that is gonna be enough to put him into the meta, but I'm always happy to see them buffing heroes that are vastly underperforming. As for Doctor Strange, they're going to be reducing the threat range and increasing the defense window of Sorcerer Supreme. They're adding a damage falloff to Maelstrom of Madness and Gamma Maelstrom. That is, of course, his E ability, the big explosion that hits everyone around him. So now we'll see the damage of this ability kind of ramping down at 5. So up to 5 meters, you have max damage. And as you hit the 5 meters and all the way out to 8 meters, the damage will taper off from 100% to 70%, again at 8 meters. They also slightly decrease the shield value recovery rate after releasing the Shield of Seraphim from 80 per second to 70 per second. So I'll feel a little bit different, but nothing massive just yet. I would not be surprised if this guy still is going to be really good. I do think that the whole change to the Maelstrom of Madness will make a pretty big dent in his overall, again, damage across all ranges and versatility to a certain extent, but he's still an incredibly good shield tank. We'll see what happens. As for 4, the God of Thunder used some slightly increased survivability and improved the success rate of his ultimate ability. They have clearly not seen the new Portal 4 ult strat that's been all over TikTok, but they'll get around to it. Which says increased base health from 500 to 525. And of course, it added immunity to control effects during God of Thunder. That's his ultimate ability. That is huge. I wasn't sure if that was a thing or not. We're gonna test it in the Mythbusters video that hasn't come out yet. But that's pretty huge, actually. Honestly, probably pretty needed. I don't know how often he got stunned out of it, but probably enough to make it a problem. Moving on, we have Hulk. Dr. Banner has been dominant, but some decreased sustained combat capability upon entering the battlefield will bring him more in line with other Vanguards. So they're reducing the Indestructible Guard Gamma Shield, that's his shift ability for PC players, for Hero Hulk from 250 to 200. Yeah, so it's 25%. No further questions about my math. I might be 20. With increased survivability and the threats of his ultimate ability, the Symbiote Menace will... Venom. The Symbiote Menace will strike fear into the backlines of all enemy teams, so they're increasing the Symbiotic Resilience bonus health ratio, gain per lost health point, from 1 to 1.2. So for anyone in the chat, or anyone in the comments who told me that it actually doesn't heal 100% of lost health, you were wrong, and now you are right, because now it not only heals 100% of your lost health. If you lost 500 health, you would get 500 bonus health, but now you also get an additional 20%, which I'm not even gonna dare attempting the math for. That was increasing the base damage of the Feast of the Abyss, that's the ultimate, from 40 to 50, which feels marginal. But basically, the way, if you guys don't know how Venom's ultimate works, it deals a base damage, and then it deals a percentile damage. I believe it is 50% of anyone who eats existing health. So this will be a little bit more, probably not make too much of a difference against most tanks. But if you are trying to chomp on someone with a lower health pool, let's say a squishy duelist or support, it'll be a little bit chunkier now. Probably not like a massive difference, but it is a difference nonetheless. And that was it for the Vanguard. So we're going to continue with patches to the Duelists. Okay, I am muting everything. There we go. Black Panther. We are slightly decreasing T'Challa's combat survivability. They're reducing the additional health provided to self after refreshing Vibranium marks with Spirit Rend from 40 to 30. So that's whenever you dash into somebody who has a mark on them, you would get health. Now you get 30 instead of 40. And the upper limit of additional health provided has been lowered from 120 to 75. So he's a lot less tanky. I've seen some people play Black Panther as a tank. They don't want you to do that. NetEase does not want you to tank with Black Panther. As for Black Widow, Natasha was in need of optimization when evaluating the release experience of her abilities, as well as a slightly increase to the threat of her ultimate ability. So they're increasing the range of the first effect of Edge Dancer from a 3-meter radius to 5-meter ranges. I believe that is your knockback. They're reducing the time required for Fleetfoot to recover from 0 stamina to full from 12 seconds to 4 seconds. So you can basically just kind of sprint wherever you want to go. That's actually pretty massive. I would argue you probably don't even need stamina to begin with. Maybe it'll end up there eventually. And they're reducing the time required for the ultimate to reach maximum power from 1 second to 0.6. I feel like nobody ever used the ultimate. I don't know if that makes a big difference. If you want one-shots, you could probably just like gas Black Widow up to start one-shotting squishies, but you know, whatever. We still have Hawkeye, right? Let's see what changes they made to him. We're going to be decreasing the medium long range damage capability, reducing the threatening combat radius, and slightly improving the close combat resistance for the Avenging Archer. Slightly reduce the spread angle between every 2 blast arrows. Nobody used that to begin with. Reduce the triggering distance of passive ability Archer's Focus from 60 meters to 40. Oh, I didn't know how to max distance. Okay, now we know. They're also reducing the maximum damage of the passive from 80 to 70. I'm pretty sure you can still just one-shot people straight up. I don't know how much of a difference this makes. He's still going to be a menace in the next season. I guess it depends on what the seasonal buffs are going to be. I guess they said they weren't going to make any big changes, but maybe they'll tweak it a little bit. We'll get to that. As for Hela, the Goddess of Death has been a menace and will slightly decrease her combat strength, base health. That's all? You're just reducing the base. Okay, there has to be more here with the season up bonuses. Magic. The Queen of Limbo needed an increase to her threat after unleashing her ultimate ability. Increased Umbral Incursion damage in Dark Child form from 115 to 135. Okay. Moving on, we have Moon Knight. The Hand of Khonshu will receive a slight increase to the threat of his ultimate ability. Increase the number of talents generated by Hand of Khonshu ultimate ability from 10 to 14. I believe, I did this math a while ago. I believe they do 75 damage per tick. Talon. So that raises the overall damage by quite a lot, especially if you combine it with somebody you can't really move out of, let's say Groot ultimate or something like that. It also increases the explosion radius of each Talon from 4 meters to 5 meters, so the whole range is just massive now. Okay, that might end up being a problem. We're gonna have to wait and see. Moving on, we're optimizing the throwing field of the Morse eggs. Is that what he throws? Adjust the throwing field of monster spawn and frozen spawn. Now Namor can more accurately throw them to the desired location. I haven't played him too much. Personally, I never felt like that was something I felt needed to change, but okay. Moving on. Psylocke will be providing more options for our heroes to counter the Demon Slayer's ultimate. Now Dance of the Butterfly ultimate ability will check for barriers, including Magneto's metal bulwark, and it will check for barriers. So this is a bit vague. We're gonna have to see how it plays out. I'm assuming this means that it hits the barriers, because I did see a Psylocke ult the other day and Namor put a turret down and hit the turret instead. So maybe like Magneto's metal bulwark and Hulk's indestructible barrier actually will do something now, rather than just making her skip them one step. Because she has I think it's 8 hits per ultimate, no matter what. The Punisher, we are slightly increasing the damage capability of his weapons. They slightly reduce the spread of Deliverance and Adjudication. So that's a buff. They're buffing it. That's awesome. We did solo to GM with Punisher. Maybe we'll do it again. Just because we can. We are Scarlet Witch. We are increasing Wanda's combat strength when she is facing Duelist or Strategist. They increase Chaos. Controls fixed damage from 50 to 60 per second. Reduce the percentage damage per second from 5 to 3%. Increase the Kryptonian burst projectile damage from 30 to 35. It is what they said. She'll just hit squishies a little bit harder. She'll also hit tanks way less harder. It do be like that. Moving on to Storm, we're seeing a lot of changes actually. The Weather Witch needed an overall increase to her damage capability. We're also optimizing the feel of her left-click projectile and the release experience of her ultimate ability. Increased Windblade projectile speed from 100 meters per second to 150, and left-click damage from 50 to 55. That's huge. But she still has to reload her arm and air, so you know, it's probably kind of scuffed. But that is going to make it a lot easier to hit her shots. That is a 30%, no, that's a 50% increase in the speed. That will feel insanely fast. Increased Bolt Rush damage from 70 to 80. Okay. After releasing the ultimate, the bonus health provided for herself will be increased from 350 to 450. Moreover, following its conclusion, the extra health will no longer vanish instantly, but will instead diminish at a rate of 100 per second. I think most people usually burn through this shield anyways. But that's good to know. If you do, for some reason, destroy most of the team, you have a little bit of shield to stay alive afterwards. Good to know. Squirrel Girl, we are increasing the threat of Doreen and her furry friends in their ultimate ability. Addition of a new effect to the unbeatable Squirrel Tsunami. The squirrels will now rush towards the nearest enemy after bouncing instead of bouncing randomly. That will be very oppressive. But it also reduces the health of the Squirrel Tsunami from 600 to 300, so it's pretty easy to kill. It takes like 1 second to focus fire for one person, and less than that if most people in the team are shooting it. That one video we made talk about the best counters for every hero. This is even more accurate now. Make sure to shoot this thing or it's gonna end up being a big problem. I assume it doesn't turn though, so as long as it bounces, you can just kind of step out of the way and you're fine. But just shoot the squirrels. They're cute, but like, what are you gonna do? Winter Soldier will be adjusting Bucky by decreasing his long-range combat strength and increasing his survivability in medium close-range combat. So it's going to be more about the dashing and punching and hooking, I guess. Increase the bonus health provided by Bionic Hook and Tainted Voltage from 30 to 40. That's huge. Increase Roger Stern's projectile damage from 70 to 75. I want to say that changes a breakpoint, but I couldn't tell you which one right now. I guess 75. Yeah, you would 4-shot someone in the body if it's like a squishy Duelist with 250 health. Otherwise, it was a 5-shot. If I'm not missing one point of this equation, I believe there's explosion damage. I don't think it deals damage to them to begin with. Moving on. Reduce the area damage from 70 to 65 and reduce damage decay from 65% at 40 meters to 60. That makes sense. And increase base health from 250 to 275. Everyone's turning out really, really tanky this time around. Okay. And then, of course, Wolverine. What's in store for Wolverine, guys? What do you guys think? Logan will receive an increase to basic combat strength, but a slight decrease to the additional survivability after activating Undying Animal. That is his E. Increases base health from 300 to 350. They're making everyone tanky. Reduce the damage reduction ratio provided by Undying Animal from 50% to 40%. Still a pretty big, it still helps you out a little bit more. This guy's going to be really hard to kill. People need to start focusing Wolverine. I know this guy's been popping off. We've had great gamers like Team Captain. I've had the pleasure to play with him. Absolutely farming with Wolverine, but I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I feel like people just gotta start shooting him. And maybe this buff was ahead of time as people are learning they can just shoot the Wolverine, because most of the time this kitty is just standing behind me if I'm tanking and just kind of scratching at my back until I die. You just look at him and shoot him. I don't know, man. Seeing that they're kind of buffing him will make things a little bit harder for me, I want to say. But we'll see how it turns out. Because now we're going to cover the strategists. Cloak and Dagger. Ty and Tandy will receive an increase to their healing capability, as well as an expansion to the coverage area of their ultimate ability. They reduce Dagger Storm cooldown from 15 to 12 seconds, and they increase the number of dashes in Eternal Bound, that's the ultimate, from 3 to 4. That's massive. There's actually some undocumented changes, or I remember seeing this on TikTok that said that Cloak and Dagger actually can get in and out of their switching between the form faster. Maybe that was like a test server only thing, but if there are a lot of undocumented changes, we're going to make a video about that, so make sure to subscribe for that. But this is huge. They're changing the dashes in Eternal Bond from 3 to 4. If you guys don't know, these also stack, which means that now you can heal at 4 times the rate of Eternal Bond area if you would like, and you're going to be able to cover a lot more of the area than previously. You know, 30% more, if my math is correct. Moving on, we have Jeff the Shark. Will be adjusting the range for his ultimate ability, so it now feels better. So it now better fits the warning marker. In addition, what does that mean? We'll see. In addition, we'll also be increasing his healing capability. Adjust his Jeff ultimate ability range from a 10-meter sphere to a 10-meter radius. Oh, okay. Okay, so if you guys are listen. I had like a month, half a year, or a few months in community college for this. So the previous Jeff Volt, hold on, that's Jeff. The previous Jeff Volt, he goes in and he does his ult, and the ult area is like this. So if you have like Iron Man here, and he would jump up, he sort of fly up, he would still, even though he's far away from it, as long as he's within 10 meters of the sphere, he would still get swallowed, sucked, and thrown off the map. You have to probably jump off the map in that case. But with the new changes, we're actually getting something pretty cool. So instead of this, which I don't think is inaccurate, that's 10 meters and that's 10 meters. We are now getting it will now instantly look like this, where this is 10 meters and this here, it's more like a swimming pool. It's 5 meters. So if you have a dash ability, most dash abilities, most movement abilities will probably let you get out of it. Jumping won't be enough, but if you have some type of movement ability, you'll probably be able to get out of it just by jumping upwards. It will feel a lot less annoying to deal with the Jeff. And if you guys want to buy this art, let me know. You know, starving artist and all that. Community college wasn't all that. Increase the and of course increase the healing of Joyful Splash from 140 second to 150 per second. I would say that overall this is a nerf because the healing was pretty solid. I guess it's nice to have like more healing, but most, at least like in higher level lobbies, I'd say the only reason you have Jeff was so you could do big ults and throw people off of the map. And if you can't do that, he's gonna be really bad. So I'd say this is kind of a nerf to him, even though he's a better healer, which I normally would think is a good thing. As for Luna Snow, speed of healers, while we have enjoyed her dropping the base, we made adjustment to Luna Snow's ultimate ability to prevent players from abusing its healing capabilities. They're increasing the interval for switching between healing and damage in Fate Above Worlds from 0.1 seconds to 0.5. So if you guys don't know what this is about, previously Luna Snow could spam the Q or her ultimate activation. She has one that boosts the damage of teammates and one that boosts the healing or rather heals nearby teammates. And by spamming both, you would get the best of both worlds. People use scripts for this or just put it on the scroll wheel or something like that. But now they cracked down now. They cracked down on that and said you can't do that anymore. And I think this is, I don't know if this is enough, if they need to change it more, but it feels reasonable. 0.1 seconds is pretty easy to automate. 0.5 is, at that point you might as well you just do it manually. Moving on into Mantis, they're gonna make Mantis a little bit less fleet-footed. They're reducing Nietzsche's favor, her passive that makes her run faster when out of combat or not taking damage, from 2.5 seconds, from 2.5 meters per second to 1.5 meters per second. That's pretty huge. Rocket Raccoon getting an increase to his healing capability, increases the healing of repair mode from, I assume that has to be his right click, from 60 per second to 70 per second. Might as well. These balls did absolutely nothing. But now we got some more changes to the team up abilities. They said I wouldn't make any big changes, any massive changes to team up abilities, but there are some tweaks here, so let's take a look at those. Starting off with Hawkeye and Black Widow. To further tone down Hawkeye's suppression, we'll be reducing his seasonal buff. They reduced Hawkeye's seasonal buff from 20% to 15%. I'd have to run the math. We'll probably do it later. Maybe somebody in comments already has. I don't think this is enough to stop him from being as oppressive. He will still be oppressive. Or maybe he won't be as oppressive, but he's still going to be one-shotting Duelist. At least maybe he'll be struggling with tanks a little bit more. Then we have Hela for Loki. Much like Hawkeye, Hela's overwhelming power will be receiving a slight reduction. They reduced her season bonus from 20% to 15%. This one I did see a quick math on, which basically said that you don't have, against certain duelists, you no longer have a headshot body shot combo. If you want to two-shot someone, now you have to do headshot, body shot, or double headshot someone. So it does change the breakpoints a little bit on, against certain duelists or strategists, which is good. She's probably still going to be a bit of a problem, but a little bit less oppressive. Then we have Luna, Snow, and Amor. We'll be increasing the threat of the frozen spawn. Oh, this is huge. This was already pretty damn good. They increased the damage from 25 to 27. It'll add up. They increased frozen spawn slowing effect applied to hit enemies from 25% to 30%, so it'll be a little bit slower, obviously. And increase the Berserk State frozen spawn damage from 16 to 18. Okay. That's when you hit them with right click. If you're a PC player. You're a secondary fire. As for Rocket, one of Rocket's best tools will be available more often. Oh no. Reduce the cooldown of ammo invention from 45 seconds to 40. Dude, this might be the year of Punisher. I know this guy is like, I played him a lot, and ammo invention is so good. It literally gives Punisher a whole new ultimate if you use it correctly. That is going to be a problem. It already was real oppressive. People were waking up to this combo. We're just going to have to wait and see where it ends up. And then moving on, we have, of course, the Scarlet Witch and Magneto power-up, which was, as they're saying themselves, a little bit underwhelming. It was really good in beta, and now for release, I think they tuned it down a little bit too much, and nobody played Scarlet Witch, and it wasn't worth picking up Scarlet Witch to enable Magneto. But they're buffing Magneto even more, so as a Magneto player, I thank you, devs. Increase Metallic Fusion projectile damage from 55 to 60, this will change some breakpoints. And increase Metallic Fusion spell field damage from 30 to 35. So the overall damage So if you guys don't know what this means, is when you hit somebody with the metallic fusion, the sword slash, it hits them for 60 initially, and then it does a spell field, like an area of effect damage to any nearby targets within, I believe it's 3 meters, 3-meter radius, and that has been raised to 35. So if they're clumped up, it does more damage. And then finally, we'll be enhancing the damage capability of Storm's side of this team up ability. Yeah. So they are reducing the cooldown of Charged Gale from 20 seconds to 15, and they increase the damage of Charged Gale from 50 to 55. And as I said, I have covered the team ups previously, and I definitely felt like Storms didn't really have much of a reason to. You didn't really have much of a reason to use it because it didn't actually make that much of a difference from the rest of her kit. I'm not sure if it is worth to use it now, but it's certainly a lot more useful. And again, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some undocumented changes because there's a lot of things that did not cover, a lot of small changes. We're just gonna have to wait and see until season 1 drops. I would love to just be in the actually have early access. I could cover this myself, but I think NetEase forgot to send me the mails because I didn't get to try out the new season early. But hopefully, here's to season 2. Am I right? Curious to hear what you guys think about season 1 in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.